Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible teaching snippet of the day. Well, I want to talk to you today about 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. This is the most misquoted verse in the Bible, and it's also mistranslated, and I want to talk to you about that today. The reason I decided to do a little short snippet about this and a teaching on it is I was so fortunate to talk to Courtney, my girl Courtney. You know, I met her when she was like 12 years old. She was in my youth group, and I've mentored her for a few years, and now she's a beautiful grown woman. But we were talking on the phone today, and this verse came up, and we just talked about it. So I want to talk to you about it today also. Well, the first thing I want to do is read that verse to you in the King James Version of the Bible. So here we go. This is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Okay. So the part that's misquoted and mistranslated is the love of money is the root of all evil. And I want to show you why that has to be misquoted or mistranslated. It's not an accurate translation of what the writer in 1 Timothy was actually trying to convey to the reader. Now, let's start with, I already know that I've got people who think that the King James Bible is like the only inspired version of Scripture. And so let's talk real quick about that first. Did you know that there have been many, many Bibles prior to the 1611 King James Bible? And there's been many changes to the King James since the 1611. But here's the thing. English was not a language that was spread out enough around the world that there was a Bible translation in English until 1382 when Wycliffe actually did the very first English translation. It was not the King James, okay? So, you had all these different Bibles in different languages. You've got Hebrew, you've got Greek, you've got Aramaic, okay? This is going to shock some of the King James only cult members, but did you know Jesus did not carry the King James Bible, and Paul, he didn't carry the King James Bible either. The King James Bible, the translators had to use existing Bibles as their sources. The Bishop's Bible was supposedly their main source according to the 15 rules of translation. And there was 4 or so other translations that they could use. In their letter to the reader, the King James translators themselves said that this Bible was not perfect and it would not always be like the one Bible. They never made that claim. What they did say is this Bible, the King James Version, was hopefully an improvement on what already existed. But over time, there would be newer translations that would improve even more. So they never expected their KJV to be like the only inspired by God Bible. The translators did not believe that. What they did try to do, since they had their hands tied with the 15 rules that they had to follow by King James, they wrote notes to attach to Scripture because they weren't able to change it, okay? They weren't able to change mistakes and errors, but they could make notes. Well, unfortunately, the notes has not made it along with the translation. But let's talk about this translation of for the love of money is the, like singular, the root of all evil. There's not one root to all evil. Okay, and I want to prove that to you, but first, before I do that, I want to go over to the Disciples' literal New Testament. I want to read that verse in that version of the Bible, okay? This is a literal Greek translation. For the love of money is a root of all evils, plural, aspiring to which some were led astray from the faith, and pierced themselves with many pains. Okay, their footnote down here on this verse says the root of all kinds of evil. So Let me read it to you in the Passion as well and give you their footnotes. Loving money is the first step toward all kinds of trouble. Some people run after it so much they have given up their faith. Craving more money pushes them away from the faith into error, compounding misery in their lives. Okay, now I'm going to give you the notes off of the Passion Translation. The insatiable greed for money is their reference to loving money, the insatiable, unsatisfiable greed for money. And then the next footnote says, as translated from the Aramaic, the word misery can also mean demon. Okay, so here's why I want to go over and show you in Genesis chapter 3. Okay, when Adam and Eve fall, they go against what God told them to do. Okay, was there money involved in that? The serpent didn't come in there, start waving money at either one of them, saying, here's the root that I'm going to use against you to make you fall. No, there was no money involved. Actually, it's about power and control of the earth. That's what the serpent wanted, was power and control. He wanted dominion to rule over mankind. Satan or the devil was working through the serpent along so that he could get power and control. Okay? Adam and Eve, what was their root? What was the root cause of them listening to the wrong voice, doing what God told them not to do? Well, their root or their fall was due to wanting more knowledge, which would have probably ended up meaning they felt like they had more power. We could go there with that. But you remember, it's the tree, the fruit of knowledge. They were tempted by the serpent telling them that they would be like God and that they would know all things, basically, right? Okay, so right there, that tells there was no money transaction whatsoever in the garden. Genesis chapter 4, the very next chapter, guys, Cain and Abel. There was no money involved in that, okay? What was the root of the evil here? For Cain to kill his brother. I can tell you, it was jealousy. It was jealousy. Jealousy was the root of the murder that happened in Genesis chapter 4. Now, it's worth me just slowing down and saying this one more time, because I've taught this already 2 different times in the last 3 years. Abel was a shepherd. Abel was a keeper of the sheep. He made sure they had food and water, pasture, that they had safety. He was a caretaker. A shepherd is not a murderer. A shepherd does not kill his sheep. Jesus never killed anyone, and he is the good shepherd who lays down his life for his flock. Abel, the type and shadow of Abel, like Jesus, is that Jesus is the good shepherd. Abel is a good shepherd. It says that right there in the Bible, that he was a keeper, not a killer of the sheep. But anyway, let me keep going. I want to show you one more thing here. Let's go on over to Genesis chapter 6, where evil rules over mankind. And if you've read any of Enoch, Jubilee, the 14 books, they're called Apocrypha, that was taken out of our Bibles by a group of men who said, no, they don't need to read that, okay? So it was pulled out of the Bibles. And by the way, the King James Bible, when it was first published in 1611, did have the Apocrypha in it, and some Bibles still do. But overall, those writings were removed. But if you read that, what it talks about there is that the angels decided that they wanted to come to earth and mate with human women. So the fallen angels reproduced a half-breed fallen angel, mankind, with fallen angel. So we have a mixed breed here. And the goal in that is to control the earth. Yes, the power and control of the earth. So see, I've shown you right here in the very beginning 3 different examples where there was zero money involved with what happened here. So for us to read that, for the love of money is the singular root of all evil, that's a mistranslation. A more realistic translation, which is straight out of the Greek scripture, translated, it says, for the love of money is one of the roots of many kinds of different evil. And yes, trust, money is a root of evil. But did you know most of the time people who want money, like in the world, the big guys in the world, they're not wanting so much to have all the money in the world, but what happens is they have more power and control. So again, I just wanted to talk to you about that because I find that one verse is, because that is not the motive all the time, guys, okay? Money is not the one and only root of evil. And it's not just the love of money. The love of money is not the singular root, or money is not a singular root, okay? When someone rapes another person, there's not money involved in it. When there's a twisted person, a pedophile hurting a child, at that moment in that specific situation, there's no money being involved in it. It's a sexual desire that they want, okay? So we don't, now, money does control the heartstrings for a lot of people. I understand that. But I'm just wanting to make sure that you understand that version of the scripture, the King James Version, that says, for the love of money is the singular root of all evil, is not really an accurate translation. Well, I'm going to sign off here, okay? I love you, and you be good, and you be safe, okay? I'll see you again. Bye-bye.